Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to US military's largest helicopter, the Ballerina that lifts 35,000... What is LB again? Is that pounds? I don't even know what LB is, for God's sake. LB, it is pounds. I don't know how big a helicopter can really be, because if we're being honest, like helicopters are always a lot smaller than planes for reasons that make sense. But then again, I feel like I'm comparing helicopters to commercial planes, whereas planes in the military aren't as big, or jets in the military aren't as big, but they're still bigger than helicopters. But I don't know what the biggest helicopter, like how big it could be. Like it'd be quite hard to comprehend because I've not seen many helicopters, but they're always small. They're always like a small thing compared to planes, but maybe this will surprise me a lot. We'll see. But yeah, let's jump into this. Hopefully you're going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon if you want to see some more of my reactions to different things that I can't post to YouTube. And that's pretty much it. Let's jump into this and see the Ballerina. What a name as well.
Maneuvering a typical
Is
helicopter.
it going backwards? Wait, helicopters can go backwards? That's probably a really stupid question, but I didn't even think that would be possible, because the fact didn't think they would need to go backwards because they can just turn so easily.
Do 360-degree turns while continuing to move straight on its track.
What?
Challenges even the most seasoned pilots. A maneuver like this requires the pilot to simultaneously adjust multiple controls with their hands and feet in order to fine-tune the amount and direction of thrust generated by the main and tail rotors. But in this case, the only adjustment the pilot has to do is to step on the yaw control pedal.
It looks like it doesn't look real. It looks so weird.
That's because the US military's largest and most powerful helicopter, the CH-53K King Stallion, is the first and only heavy lift helicopter.
Look at it from this view as well. It doesn't look like a helicopter from here. Obviously, forget the propellers because that is what makes a helicopter. But if you just look at it like this, that's not how I picture it at all.
Helicopter that has fly-by-wire controls. More on that later, but in addition to this capability, the King Stallion can provide significantly more lift capability compared to its predecessor, the CH-53E Super Stallion. And you gotta see this. During its test phase, the King lifted progressively heavier payloads. Here is a 4,000-pound concrete block being hooked up, which the helicopter could easily...
That's pretty much like 22, 23 of me. And that's probably more, like 25 of me because I'm 75 kg. 23 of me around that.
Pick up. Then an external payload of just under 12,000 pounds was lifted.
That's a big jump. Oh, so they're just doing it in increments and they weren't just jumping straight up that high.
And after some hovering, was jettisoned. But this next test really showcases the power of the King Stallion. In February of 2018, the CH-53K successfully lifted 35,000 pounds. That's 3 times what the Super Stallion could lift.
What the hell?
You can tell it's heavy by comparing the angle of the rotor blades with and without the heavy weight. It's really pulling on the chopper.
That's worrying now. That could go wrong so easily. The fact that it's affecting the helicopter that much. I would be shitting myself if I was the pilot.
Just like its predecessor, the King has 3 engines, but each engine has a whopping 7,500 shaft horsepower, an increase of over 70% compared to the Super.
That is massive. It's literally drive. Like, what the helicopters with wheels? Like, what is going on?
Stallion. This allows the King to easily transport a JLTV or other armored vehicles like the LAV-25, something that would be considered an accomplishment if the Super Stallion did it.
Imagine like seeing that, just you're going on like a walk or you're going fishing or something and you're like in the woods and you just see this flying over your head. You would be so confused.
In September of 2021, a US Navy MH60 helicopter crashed near Bishop, California. The downed helicopter weighed 12,200 pounds, but having crashed at an altitude of approximately 12,000 feet above sea level made the recovery operation challenging. But not challenging enough for the King Stallion, which was only 2 months into its initial operational testing at VMX-1 and had no issues lifting and delivering the damaged MH60 safely.
Oh wow.
The King Stallion has the largest and most advanced rotor blades that its manufacturer Sikorsky has ever produced.
The size of the blades. Look at the size of the blades. It's literally the length of I guess, an average size female. Like, probably like, no, it's more than that. It's probably like, this is probably like 6 foot. If you like measured it, it'd probably be like the same as like 6 foot, which is insane. And that's just the width. That is mental. I didn't realize how big it was when I was just looking at the video.
Of course, these next generation composite main
Maybe not 6 feet, but they're still huge.
rotor blades can fold and unfold automatically, so that the CH-53K can fit inside the hangar of amphibious assault ships.
Okay.
After all, the King Stallion is here to replace the Super Stallion. But the King Stallion can be transported anywhere in the world, since it's strategic lift certified for the C-17 Globemaster and the C-5 Galaxy. That said, the King Stallion doesn't fit inside the C-17 Globemaster cargo aircraft, at least not in one piece. The helicopter needs to be partially disassembled, where the main rotor components are loaded separately from the rest of the King Stallion.
Oh, wow. I wonder how long it takes to build it back again. Like, say you deliver it to wherever it has to go. How long will it take for you to re-add the parts? Because it's probably not going to be that long, because it's just like sort of Lego, just at a bigger scale. Because obviously the parts are all there. It's just adding it back together, but maybe not. Maybe it does take probably a few days, right? Maybe not. I don't actually know.
This particular C-17 transported the CH-53K to Berlin Air Show in June of 2022, where the helicopter performed the maneuver that we saw at the beginning, called the Pirouette. Pirouette is actually the name of this simple turn in ballet, and also in figure skating. The King Stallion can do the pirouettes with ease, thanks to Fly-by-Wire, the sponsor of... I'm kidding, there is no sponsor, just checking your reflexes, and they look good. Fly-by-wire has been used in fixed-wing aircraft for quite some time, but they are not yet common in helicopters. So what is this fly-by-wire exactly? In traditional airplanes, the pilot moves mechanical levers to operate a hydraulic control system, which is made up of many parts located across the aircraft. But a fly-by-wire system gets rid of all those mechanical components. Instead, the pilot's control inputs are interpreted by the flight computer, which calculates the control surface positions required to achieve that outcome. This results in various combinations of rudder, elevator, aileron, and engine controls in different situations using a closed feedback loop. It's a bit like comparing a gramophone, which picks up and amplifies the sound fully mechanically, to a record player, which has replaced most of the in-between mechanics with electronics. Fly-by-wire has many advantages. It benefits engineers since they can take over 400 pounds of mechanical systems out of the helicopter. Remember, the only thing guaranteed about a mechanical system is that it will wear out. Fly-by-wire results in eliminating approximately 370 mechanical parts that no longer require repair or replacement. But its biggest advantage is the reduction of workload from the pilots. Maneuvering a helicopter on its own is a challenging task, but when helicopter pilots are coming into a landing zone, they become occupied with numerous tasks during their final descent. Landing can be particularly tricky when there is reduced visibility due to sand or dust blowing. According to the pilots who have flown the King Stallion, doing external cargo lifts is much easier when compared to the Super Stallion. Fly-by-wire controls simplify the process by allowing pilots to easily hover in the same spot while the payload is being hooked in.
Wait, are they...
This process typically...
Wait. Oh, I was thinking for a second. Are they going to be carried up with this and they're going to just be floating with it? But obviously not.
While the payload is being hooked in. This process typically requires a lot of communication with the team on the ground, since the pilot cannot see what's underneath the helicopter and has to stay still.
Bro, imagine it crushes you or something. Oh, that would not be for me, man. That job sounds freaky as hell. Any sort of job that involves something being above you and you they can't see, so whatever happens, I don't know, maybe it's windy or maybe they just lose control. It's just too close, man. Too close for cool. Don't want to get crushed like that.
On top of that, fly-by-wire systems can be designed to protect aircraft in the event of incorrect or inadvertent control inputs from the pilot, which could prevent accidents.
Oh my days.
Long story short, the fly-by-wire system on the King Stallion allows pilots to focus more on their mission by reducing the mental and physical workload that's usually required to maneuver a helicopter, especially when they need to watch out for
has
enemy
guns?
threats.
Or weapons?
The King Stallion has a maximum speed of 200 miles per hour and a range of 530 miles. For extended operation, it can be refueled in flight from a KC-130. It can also refuel from a surface ship while in hover mode.
Refueling a helicopter looks so sketchy because it could go so wrong, like, in so many ways. For one, this could easily just chop this refilling line or whatever. Like, that's just one of those things, and obviously you just saw a video of it going wrong, but I don't know, say you go too high, maybe it collides with this. I don't know, just refilling helicopters would be one sketchy thing.
From a KC-130. It can also refuel from a surface ship while in hover mode, and of course, when on the ground. The CH-53K can also operate at higher altitudes and hotter climates. But for the Marine Corps, transitioning to this $124 million flying machine is not without its challenges. Probably the biggest learning curve will be with maintenance. The King Stallion is a lot more system intensive compared to its predecessor. Anytime a new technology is introduced, there are always unexpected issues. For example, the King Stallion had gas exhaust reingestion problems, which degraded the helicopter's power significantly. And there have been and there will be more issues that will surface and get resolved.
What is that?
This is why, even though the King Stallion reached initial operational capabilities in 2019, it would only reach full operational capability in 2029.
Oh, wow.
In the meantime, Super Stallion pilots would need to be trained in order to transition to flying the King Stallion, which is going to continue the legacy of heavy lift helicopters that the US Marine Corps has been flying for decades. So next time you hear a US Marine yell, 53 kilo, be aware, they are not walking away from the imperial system and embracing metric. They're just calling their bird.
Well, there we go. That is one of the most fascinating things I've seen, and it's a new build as well. It's really new. But I had the opportunity to go up the ramp of the CH-53 once. It's hard to fathom how big these helicopters really are. The ramp alone is bigger than some helicopters. What? Could you imagine seeing a giant helicopter just spin around like that in battle? The enemy would be so confused. I mean, it's crazy. It's such a weird looking thing. It's just so different. So different. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And if you want more military stuff, I'm always down to do it. But yeah, suggest what you want to see next. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on this, because this is a very different type of helicopter, but it's also just huge. Well, like, whilst it has all these capabilities, it can lift really heavy things. It can do this weird turning thing in the air. It's flipping massive. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. And until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.